this is Katie. Do you guys know when I pose for my thumbnail, I hold my breath? So sometimes by the time, because I usually do that right in the beginning, so then by the time I'm saying my hi, this is Katie, I feel like I ran 3 miles. I don't know why I hold my breath when I pose. Like, can we not take pictures of ourselves or pose without holding our breath? I don't know, but... Hi, this is Katie. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing an FAQ about living and sleeping in my car. Have I answered all of these questions before? Yes. Have I told you all of this stuff before? Yes. But I wanted like a comprehensive video of all of these questions and answers in one video, because some of these questions or assumptions or just things that I want to talk about have either been in videos from a long time ago or they've been spread out in separate videos. And so I just kind of wanted to make a video for people who are new to my channel or who are thinking about traveling full time or thinking about sleeping in their car for the first time, thinking about living in their car, going on a long road trip, anything like that, that they have like one comprehensive video of like not every single thing that I could ever say, because you guys know that would be a 25-hour long video, but a general overview of some of your most frequently asked questions or assumptions about my lifestyle and how I've been living in my car for the past 3 years. So before we start this video, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel, ring that notification bell so you get notified of every time I upload, and then also go follow me on Instagram. My name is Katie Carney over there for more daily updates and stuff like that. I know that I only recorded the intro, but I had to like stop it for a minute and like take my camera down, so the angle's probably different, and I'm sorry about that. And I also don't remember where I left off. I think I just did my intro, right? I think I was just like, oh, I'm gonna talk about like why I live in a car and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I guess, should I just keep going from there? So I have a couple of your FAQs on my phone. Sometimes I have notes on my phone when I'm prepared, and sometimes I don't, but today I do. Full disclosure, I have recorded this video 3 times before, but I feel like every time I record it, it comes off like defensive and negative, and that is absolutely not how I want to come across. So I don't know why it has come across that way, because sometimes when like I answer questions that people ask, some people think that I'm being defensive when really I'm just answering or explaining myself, but I wonder if it's my tone. I don't know. So I'm gonna work a little bit harder on this video to calm my tone down, but you guys know that that's probably not gonna happen. The New York Italian in me comes out very easily. Okay, so anyway, let's get into some FAQs about living in my car. And again, these are all, or at least almost all of these are gonna be repeat answers from things I've talked about before, but I just want all of this in one video just to have as like a resource almost. And so anyway, the first question I'm gonna answer is, why do I live in a car? So, hi, I'm Katie. I live in this little Toyota Yaris, and I have been doing so for about 3 years full time and then a little bit part time before that. I chose to do it because I like to travel so much. Like, I like to be on the road so much that I just decided to stay in my car full time. And I had a home base for a little while, and then I haven't for the last 3 years. And then I'll talk about a home base a little bit later too. But yeah, the super simple answer is that I live in my car to travel. Like, I just really like being on a very long road trip, and I've just been driving around the States. I've been to all the lower 48 states. I like the idea of being able to wake up and go wherever I want the next day, and I like the idea of being able to stay where I want if I like a place, and I can stay longer than maybe I originally planned. I just like the idea of having that kind of open lifestyle. I grew up on Long Island, and I really did not travel. I did not like traveling when I grew up, weirdly enough. I didn't really start traveling until I was like 26, but before that I was very like a homebody, and I didn't think I would ever travel. I didn't even like driving for most of my life, but then when I was 26, something just kind of changed, and I went on my first road trip with one of my friends, and I just kind of kept doing it. And then I was like, you know what, I like being on the road, whether it's with a friend or by myself. I'm usually by myself, but I just honestly realized that I preferred a life on the road, driving around the country. You know, like I go out west at least once a year or twice a year. I usually spend a little bit of my summers in Montana and Wyoming, and then I spend like the winter in the South because I really don't like the cold very much. And yeah, I've just preferred the lifestyle. And so that's why I've lived out of this little car. And then speaking of living in this particular car, it's a Toyota Yaris. And a lot of people have asked me why I live in this Toyota and why I don't live in a van or just a bigger car or a truck or an RV or something like that. I had this car before I started traveling. This is the only car I've ever owned. I bought it when I was 23, so almost 10 years ago. And when I started traveling at like 26, I didn't even think about getting a different car because I just kind of was going on a road trip for a few weeks, well, like a month. And then after that, you know, I would drive around a lot. And then I just never thought about getting a bigger car because I never needed one. Because A, I don't have a lot of stuff. And B, I'm real short. I'm 5'2.5", so I fit in this car totally fine. I'll talk about sleeping later, but like I even fit sleeping in the car totally fine with all my stuff in the car. And I just never saw the need to get a bigger car. I'm super comfortable in this car. I love this car. It gets really good gas mileage. And then knock on wood, it just lasted me really well. It's a Toyota. I have over 200,000 miles, like 200 and something, 20, I think, 1,000 miles. And I get everything like regularly maintained at Toyota dealerships or Jiffy Lubes. And my car has been great. And so I just have not seen a need whatsoever to get a bigger car. Would it be more comfortable? Sure. But I don't really care about that, honestly. I'm a little bit more like experience over comfort. And again, I'm not uncomfortable in this car. And so if it was like a really big issue, or if I was going to be traveling more full time with someone else, or if I, was 6 inches taller or something like that, I would probably consider getting a bigger car, but I just have never needed one. And I've never wanted one, honestly. I've never really like put effort into wanting a bigger car or a new car or anything. Once this car completely dies, don't let it hear you, but once it stops working and I get a new car, I might consider getting a bigger car depending on where I am at that time and if I'm still living in the car or traveling a lot. I don't know, but I still don't really see myself getting like a big van or anything. I just haven't really wanted one. I don't know. But I'm not like hating on people who live in vans. Obviously, it's super cool if that's what you want to do, but it's just all personal preference and I just haven't really wanted one. Why did my phone go sideways? Go back. Excuse me. No. Here we go. Okay, so now that I told you guys like I live in my car so I can travel a lot, I know a lot of people have questions about actually sleeping in the car. I feel like one of the first things, even last night I met someone and I was telling her about how I travel a lot and she was like, so where do you sleep? Do you get like Airbnbs and hotels and stuff? And I'm like, no, I'm generally in the car. And she's like, oh. She wasn't looking down on me or judging me or anything. It just takes people by surprise because a lot of people wouldn't necessarily choose to sleep in the car. And my opinion on that, honestly, is like if you have the money and if your priority is a little bit more like that comfort and knowing that you have a bathroom, knowing that you have a bed, which is totally fine. If that's more of your personal preference all the time, then yeah, hotels, Airbnbs, you can still go on road trips. You can still kind of live out of a car, but still get Airbnbs and stuff. That's great if that's what you prefer. Honestly, for me, the first couple times I slept out of my car were because I lived in New York and then I moved to Nashville. That was the first place like I lived without like my parents or dorming or whatever in my early 20s. And so I'd go home sometimes to visit and it's about a 17-hour drive from Nashville to where I'm from, where my mom lives. And so I'd make that drive every few months and there would just be sometimes, obviously 17 hours is a decently long amount of time to drive. And so sometimes I would just pull over to sleep in the car, to nap or just sleep for a few hours. And after I did that a few times, I was like, this is real easy. And I know a lot of people who have never done it before. It's so easy to judge. It's so easy to have opinions on things that we've never done before. But I'm just telling you with my experience and with my, height and with my car and with my comfort level and all that kind of stuff, sleeping in the car really was not that bad. And every time I woke up, it's like, I'm saving $100 or $150, not staying at a hotel. And so it just kind of never seemed like a big deal to me, honestly. Obviously, it's a little bit of a change, sleeping from a bed to sleeping in a car. But once I did it a few times, I was like, yeah, this is easy for me. I promise you I am comfortable. Once we get talking about sleeping, I'll talk more about that. But I promise you I'm comfortable when I sleep in the car. But yeah, I just kind of, after a few times, realized that it was very inexpensive and I felt safe and I felt comfortable. And so I didn't really need to change. And so that's kind of why I started sleeping in the car. And then, so let's actually talk about the sleeping. So first of all, where do I park? I park at truck stops, big gas stations, big rest areas, and welcome centers, and those types of places. I usually sleep at Flying J. They're pretty common throughout most of the country, and they usually don't have signs that permit sleeping. Sometimes Pilots or Loves, sometimes they have signs that say only 2-hour parking, and then sometimes rest stops also will have, 4-hour parking only, which you could still go and take a nap, but that you couldn't really sleep overnight. There have been a few times that I didn't see those signs, and I've still slept at those places, and I may have woken up and been like, oh crap, there was a sign, but that I didn't get kicked out or anything. But I still don't do that purposefully if I see those signs. And again, usually Flying J's don't have those signs. And there are some other truck stops and then a bunch of rest stops and welcome centers that don't have those signs. And they're kind of just super welcoming of people who want to sleep there overnight. And it's totally fine. If I'm staying in the same place for more than a week or so, I usually don't sleep at the same place every single night just because you don't really want people to know where you are and you kind of want to be stealth when you sleep in your car. But if I'm just staying somewhere for a night or two, I'll stay at the same place and I've never had an issue. And so when I park, obviously my windows are not tinted. I don't have them tinted just because I haven't wanted to. That's the simple answer of that. I just haven't seen a need to. And when I sleep, I hang up, like, they're not within my reach right now. They're not here, but I'll just kind of show you. I'll take t-shirts and really thin towels. Obviously this is a jacket, but I'm just gonna kind of show you with the jacket. I'll take t-shirts and I'll take like those quick dry towels, and I have these little slidey pins on my ceiling. You guys can see some back there, these slidey pins, and I just put this up and I slide the pin through it, and then I slide it through my ceiling. And then I just kind of do that all around my car. And it honestly doesn't take me very long. I've made a couple videos with me doing it, and obviously in the video it's gonna take me longer because I'm explaining it, but it only takes me a few minutes and it's been literally fine for me. And then for the front and the back, I have those, they're right here. I don't know why I'm acting like I have to try to mime them out for you. These things, I have these things that I put on like the front and the back. And you can also put them on the side if you have ones that like fit. I'm not even gonna try to fold this back up right now. Sometimes this takes me a minute. I'm just gonna put it over here. Just stay, just cooperate and just stay over there. Okay, and I just got those on Amazon. And no, I don't want that in the rest of the video. Okay, all right, hold on. They're mildly hard to close in the car because the space is mildly limited, but it's possible for sure. So yeah, so I use those as well as the t-shirts. And one of the reasons that, hold on, let me put this back. So one of the other questions that I get is like, well, why don't you have curtains instead of the t-shirts and the towels? And that's because since my car is quite small, again, it's a Yaris, so it's about mildly bigger than a bread box, I really like the idea of dual purpose things. So t-shirts and towels, I'm using already. So I might as well use those to hang up instead of getting like big bulky curtains that I'm only using at night and that they only serve one purpose and they're gonna take up a lot of space. I am very big on my space. I obviously, actually you can't really tell. I'm not one of those people who's living in their car with just a backpack, but that's just because that's not my style and that's not what I wanna do. If that's what you wanna do, cool. But that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a little bit more of like my stuff, like my skincare and my makeup and a bunch of clothes that are not going to just fit in a backpack. And so I want to see if I can use those things for dual purpose. And so my t-shirts, hang them up, the towels, hang them up, and then the next day I take a shower. Oh, I shower at Planet Fitness, by the way. I'm just going to tell you guys that now because I know a lot of people are curious. I have a Planet Fitness membership. If you get like the $21 a month one, you can go to any Planet Fitness in the country. And even if you don't want to work out, even if you just want to go there to shower, pay the 21 bucks a month and you can go to anyone in the country. And so that's where I shower. Make sure you have shower shoes. But then besides that, super easy. And like I've literally gone there so many times without exercising and just showering. They don't care. Nobody knows. You're paying for it, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so that's what I do when I sleep. I hang up the towels and the t-shirts. And then when I do sleep, again, I have videos. If you want to know more specifics about like each of these topics, I do have videos. So if you want to see me sleeping in the car, I have tons of videos of that. But I sleep in the back. I sleep back there. This does not look wide enough for me. I get that. It's not. However, again, I'm 5'2.5". So if I put my head back here and if I push this forward like this and I put pillows down here, then I can stretch out perfectly, literally perfectly. And I'm 5'2.5". If I was 5'3.5", I might not fit. I'm not even kidding. I literally fit perfectly. And then also sometimes just because I'm a girl and a lot of maybe this is just a human thing, I don't know, but I sleep in crazy positions anyway. And so sometimes I'm just all curled up and then I just totally fit fine back there. But if I really want to stretch out, which obviously sometimes it's important to stretch your legs, yeah, I just always have this seat forward and I can stretch out perfectly here. And no, it does not make my back hurt any more than it normally does. I've had back pain since I was young, but it had nothing to do with living in the car because it was way before I even started traveling. But it does not make my back hurt anymore. And honestly, again, for me, it's comfortable. But that is so going to depend on every person. And so I'm sure that there's some people watching this who are like, I slept in my car and it sucks. It's comfortable for me. I've also slept like in the front seat, just reclined, and I've slept across the front seats. Those are doable in a pinch. If there's something going on where the back seat's way too filled and I'm exhausted, like if I'll just recline this, it is not ideal. I do not prefer those for me, but they'll do in a pinch, and I've done that. But I generally sleep in the back. Super comfortable for me. And that's kind of it. But again, I have so many videos of me actually sleeping in the car. If you guys want to watch those to actually see me like pinning up the towels and how I do that and how I kind of get my bed ready. And oh, and PS, all the stuff that's always back here when I'm driving, I just move to the front when I sleep. And then in the morning, I just move it back. But I, again, have so many videos about that if you're curious about actually sleeping. So, okay, why I have t-shirts, why I don't tint my windows, where I sleep, where I park, where I've traveled, all lower 48, but I think I already mentioned that. How do I make money? This is such a common question. And soon-ish, I'm gonna make a whole video talking about how to make money online, but essentially how I've made money is that I make money online. When I started traveling, like 7 years ago, I would travel kind of part-time. So I'd go on road trips and like I'd move to a new place, get an apartment, get a job, and then I'd stay there for a while, and then I would kind of do the same thing and I'd move somewhere new and whatever. But also, since I was like 21, I've on and off worked online, and so I've networked a lot, and I know a lot of people who work like internet marketing, entrepreneurs, that kind of stuff. And so I've also had a ton of work online. Right now, YouTube is the only job that I have, and I absolutely love doing it. And yeah, so a lot of people will watch my videos and just kind of ask how I make money. Through this thing, through the ads, mostly. If you want to know how people make money on YouTube, it's usually through the ads. Okay, so just a few more questions that I get pretty often. A lot of people ask me where I charge my computer and my phone and everything. So if I am just gonna be in the car for a few days, I'm gonna be driving in the middle of nowhere or at a national park or somewhere that I'm really gonna be in the car and or outside a lot, I have one of these that plugs into the cigarette lighter. This is my little Bluetooth stereo, and this is just a car phone charger, like a little Apple phone charger. And so I just charge my phone while I'm driving. And then I also have, you guys know, like the love of my life, this Duracell thing, power inverter that plugs into a cigarette lighter, and it has, you can get all different types. This is just the one that I have. It was like $25 something at Target, and it just has one outlet and then one USB. And so if I want to charge my camera battery, if I want to charge my computer, if I want to charge like anything like that, I have this. Honestly, also, if you check like the wattage or voltage or whatever, I can also plug in like my hair straightener, my curling iron into this as well. If I really wanted to do that in the car, I could do that as well. And so there are different kinds. Some have, you know, like 2 or 3 or 4 of these and multiples of these, whatever. Just kind of depends on what you want. But I will use that. If my camera battery dies and I know I'm gonna be driving for the next 4 hours, I'll just plug it in right there. And so it's super easy. But if I'm gonna be in a town or a city for a little while, or even just for a day, honestly, I will go to a library, I will go to a coffee shop, and I will just plug in everything. Just plug in everything. I have a couple batteries for my camera, plug them all in. Charge my phone, charge just everything that I have. Make sure my computer's charged, especially at a coffee shop. Buy a coffee, sit there, or I don't drink coffee, buy a tea, buy a water, buy something, buy a snack. And you can sit there and you can do your work. Again, if some people are like, oh, how do you edit and stuff? Sometimes, honestly, I do it in the car and I just hotspot from my phone. But then sometimes I'll go to libraries or coffee shops. And then it's literally that simple. I actually love going to libraries to work, honestly. Like it makes me, it almost makes me feel more productive, I feel like, when I'm sitting at a library working. But then also sometimes, and oh, I don't think I even mentioned this already yet, that while I do sleep in my car a lot and I stay in my car a lot, sometimes I do stay with my friends. And it's not necessarily because like I hate sleeping in the car or because anything like that. It's more just like, if I'm in a town that one of my good friends lives in, yeah, I'm just gonna go visit them and stay with them, just like you probably would if you were living in Chicago but visiting Daytona. I don't know why I chose Daytona. Do people actually visit Daytona? I'm sure they do. But if you had a friend living there, you would just stay with them, you know? So that's just kind of how it is with me sometimes. So like when I'm in Nashville, you guys know, I stay with my best friend, David. Depending on the friend, they might offer for me to stay for, like David, literally I could stay with David for 6 months. I pay him rent when I stay there, obviously, but like he's my best friend. And so I can stay there for like a long time. But just sometimes I have friends like in LA or in Austin or in just a bunch of different places that if I'm there and we're hanging out, it might just be that I end up just staying on their couch that night. Again, just like almost even if you were living in the same town, but you're just hanging out with your friends and you just crash on their couch. And so sometimes I do that. And then also while I'm there, I'm gonna charge my phone and I'm gonna shower probably. Oh, and maybe do laundry. Oh, I do laundry at laundromats, and or if I am just randomly staying at a friend's house, I'll be like, hey, do you mind if I do laundry here? If I'm staying in a campground or something, honestly, some campgrounds have laundry. They're really fancy ones. So just in case you're curious about laundry as well. Some people ask how I get Wi-Fi, but I already kind of answered that. I go to libraries and coffee shops a lot, and then also I will hotspot from my phone, depending. Because sometimes, you guys know, like, if you work from home or if you have like a business but you have the option to work at home, sometimes you just don't want to go to the office. And for me, it's kind of like my car is my house and then a coffee shop or a library is the office. And so sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to get up and go out somewhere. So sometimes I want to edit and upload a video and answer some emails in the car. And so I have a car desk. I don't know where it is right now, but I've talked about that so many times. It's definitely in the back. It's this little plastic thing. It's in my Amazon recommended in my description. You guys know know I always have my Amazon recommended in my description. So if you guys want to see, it's an affiliate link, but if you guys just want to see some things that I recommend or that I talk about or that I use personally, and one of them that I love and recommend to anyone who ever would be on their computer in their car, but also anyone who eats in their car or anything like that, it's just a little plastic thing that just connects to your steering wheel, and it is like super handy. And so sometimes I'm just in the car and I hotspot from my phone, but sometimes also depending where you are, if you're like really close to Whole Foods but right outside of it, sometimes you could pick up their Wi-Fi, but usually I just hotspot from my phone. So sometimes people ask me why I'm not a truck driver, or they suggest to me that I should be a truck driver. I don't want to be a truck driver. I just don't want to. I really like doing YouTube, first of all, and doing all like the online work that I've done. But also the whole point that I'm in the car is that like I can travel how I want to travel. And being a truck driver, I would never feel comfortable driving a truck. I would be nervous of tipping that thing over all the time. And then just the idea of having to be places at certain times and having to deliver stuff, like that's just not what I want to do, and that's not why I'm on the road. But I do get that question quite often. I know that it's like a great way to make money and you can see a lot of places, totally. Like I totally get that, but it's just not the way that I've wanted to do it. And so I've just been good in the car and then working online that way, like doing customer support or writing or stuff like that. That's just kind of how I've preferred it for me, because we all have different like strengths and things that we prefer, you know? So one of the last questions that I get all the time, and this is honestly one that sometimes I get a little like defensive and like, like why would you ask me that? I get asked, why don't you live with your mom? Because a lot of people who might only see 5 minutes of a video think that I'm living in my car because I don't have anywhere else to live. And that's just not, it's just literally not true. I'm not living in my car because I don't have any money or that I can't afford a place. I'm not living in my car because I am down on my luck or anything like that. I've literally been living in my car. There have been some times in my life that I've lived in my car, not really by choice, but because I did not have enough money for a place to stay for a couple weeks. There have been times in my life when that happened, but the last few years, that hasn't been it. It's just that I preferred being on the road. So staying with my mom wouldn't make sense because then I'd just be in one place. You know what I mean? So it's always when I get that question, it just like always kind of bugs me. I don't know why. That's like the one question that kind of bugs me. But like when I go visit my mom, I'll stay with her sometimes. But the whole point of me staying in the car is to travel. So staying at my mom's house in one place in New York wouldn't be conducive to traveling. If I'm getting defensive, I am sorry. But that question gets like, and then, okay, 2 more questions. What does your family think of your lifestyle? I think that they still kind of worry about me, but also I think they're just so used to it. I think they're just so used to it. Even though my mom, whenever I say, oh, I'm staying with a friend or something, she gets excited just because she's, you know, she's a mom and she's an Italian mom. So she does worry, but they're very accepting and they're just glad that I'm doing something that I want to do. Then the last question is, will you ever settle down? I don't know. I have no idea. I definitely see myself having a home base and still traveling, but maybe having a home base at some point, or obviously if I get married, I will live in a house, or if I marry someone who wants to live like in a bigger car with me, I'll do that. But I can see myself changing my lifestyle, sure, absolutely. But to what extent, for how long, I have no idea. I have really enjoyed being in my car, but you guys know I talk about this a lot, that I'm such a big advocate of paying attention to your life and honestly reevaluating your life and seeing if your choices are still good for you. Seeing if what was good for you 3 years ago is still good for you now, especially when it only involves you. You know what I mean? If you're like, you know what, I really liked this hair color, but maybe I don't like it anymore, you know, or like maybe this job. Maybe I don't like this job anymore. Or is this person that I've been casually dating for a few months, is this still healthy for me? So it's kind of the same with living in the car and with traveling and with the lifestyle I've had. You know, like I'm in my mid-30s. So it is something that I have been thinking about, is like, well, is traveling full time still beneficial for me? Is it still the best choice for my life, you know? And so I'm totally open for things changing. I love change. I think change is so important to like learn and grow and to help yourself. And if you help yourself, you'll be able to help other people more, you know? And so the idea of settling down, I don't like the sound of that. It makes me a little like, no, I'm never going to settle down. But in reality, I might buy a house one day. I don't know. That sounds weird. I might stay in some place for a much longer period of time. Absolutely. Like that's something, I'm so open to things depending on how my views change or what I want changes or what I think is best might change. Or, you know, if I start dating someone seriously or get married or something, obviously my priorities will change. But for right now, my priority is me because I'm single and I work online and I work for myself. And so I've built my life so that I'm able to make these decisions for myself. And so we'll see how my priorities change and we'll see how all that shifts, but you guys will be right along for the ride with me. But anyway, so for a recap, I live in my car to travel. I sleep at truck stops and rest stops, and I just kind of hang up towels and stuff while I sleep in the back seat. And oh, when I eat, I go out to eat a lot because I like going out to eat a lot, but also I just go to the grocery store and I'll get 1 serving size of cold cuts. I'll get chips and guac and just kind of foods like that to eat in the car, or obviously you can eat outside or whatever. I've been to all lower 48. Some of my favorite parts of the country are like Bozeman and northwestern Wyoming. I love LA, I love Minneapolis, I love Nashville, and that's kind of, and San Diego. Like I just love like Southern California, and I love Utah, Southern Utah. Oh my gosh, all those parks. Oh, I love all that. I like going to national parks. I like the mountains over the beach, but I also like being on the coast. It's so weird. Like I almost prefer being on a coast, but I like the mountains, which is fine because there are still some places on the coast that have mountains. But some of my favorite places are not on the coast, but I prefer to be on the coast. Just because I grew up on Long Island, and so I feel like landlocked very easily. But yeah, and my family is, you know, worried just because they're my family, but they are supportive. And I, you know, I usually make friends on dating sites. I literally made a friend last night on Bumble BFF because that's just literally a way that like you can meet people. And I work online, I make money through YouTube, and I charge my phone and stuff either in the car or at a library or something. And I'm sure, especially if this is one of your first videos of mine, you're still probably super confused, but I really hope that you guys kind of like search around on my channel. A lot of things are much like more explained in different videos, and so I really hope that you guys kind of stick around and subscribe to my channel and check out all my other videos. And again, I'm really sorry if any of this came off defensive, because I know sometimes my tone can sound defensive, but I really honestly just wanted to kind of explain things so that not only could hopefully I help you guys, but that you understand a little bit more about what I'm doing. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed and following me on Instagram as well, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.